Hey, so I was just about to record today's episode. Then I realized, dude, I have no liquor, no alcohol whatsoever. So I'm going to take a walk to the liquor store, which is right here behind me. And we're going to pick up a couple of bottles of some liquor. We're going to make a drink. And then we're going to get into this episode. So let's get the liquor and then let's get this show rolling. But you get to come with me so you get to see what I buy. How about that? Sounds like fun? Let's do it.
Bingo!
Hey, so got the liquor. Definitely got more than I intended to get. But with liquor, I always say you never know when you need some, so the more the merrier, basically. This episode is going to be about the world's loss of a badass woman, the notorious RBG. We're going to talk about women and how women are treated in the world, and if the world can do better in terms of improving the plight of women in the world, in leadership, at home, and everywhere else. Let's fix some drinks. This is C Square Cocktails Conversations. That's exactly what I'm wearing on this episode of C Square Cocktails and Conversations. I'm James Okungu, margarita in hand, freshly squeezed lime juice. That's the secret. You might be wondering why I'm wearing an apron, but I cook a lot in our house. In fact, me and my wife have divided duties. I mainly run the kitchen. I cook, I shop for the kitchen, all that kind of stuff. And she does generally everything else, the laundry and the house, cleaning and sorting out and arranging. That's on her, and then we share baby duties. That is not typical of a Kenyan family, but this is America and this is New York, so things are quite different. I'm not yet at the level of Beyonce where I can have like servants who do everything. Not yet, keyword. Anyway, let's get into this episode. So we lost a tower of leadership in notorious RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Passed away recently, which made me curious. Women and leadership in politics, leadership at the workplace, leadership in relationships. Like, where is the status? What's the status of their being recognized as equal partners? Discrimination at work, is that still a thing, or is it improving, And what sparked this off is quite interesting. So I was shooting in Manhattan a couple of weeks ago, and I ran into these guys and I was asking them about politics. Kamala Harris has been named on the Joe Biden ticket. And I was like, what do you think about women in leadership? Like, is America ready for a female president? Is America ready for a vice president who's a female? Because that is, closer right now. And the answers were really like strongly opinioned, strongly structured. In fact, let me show you what they said. Then let's come back and talk a little bit more about it, right? So this is what this gentleman had to say.
You know what? If a woman wins,
Right.
I'm leaving the country.
Oh, for real?
Oh, yeah.
You don't think a woman should be in charge?
No.
Even as vice president?
No.
Why not?
Because they deal with emotions.
Okay.
And men don't.
All right.
They deal with the facts.
You think so? You think men deal with emotions?
Not really. We both do.
Men deal with the facts.
With facts.
And women don't.
And if it's emotional,
Right.
they'll do the right thing by facts.
Okay.
The woman, emotional. And they'll deal with
Do
emotion.
you think a woman should be president of the United States at any point? Never, ever.
Never.
Even if it's your own daughter and what she wants to be president, you
No.
don't think that's right?
No. Even though he feels strongly about something, the man will write the right way. A woman would go totally different because of emotions. A man, even if he has heart for something, he'll do the right thing.
Do you ever get mad and react emotionally? Do you ever get mad sometimes at life, at people, and then you act out of your emotions? No.
No, never. I'll do the right decision.
So you never got into a fight because you're mad or anything like that?
I'll always decide, even if I got mad and upset, I'll make the right decision as a man, even if it's wrong.
And a woman isn't capable of doing that.
I don't care about it.
And so you can see some really strong opinions over there, some extremely strong opinions. You know, you'd think that this is New York, this is 2020, and everybody kind of thinks the same way about women's rights, about these things which people think are universal, but that's not true. People have varied opinions out in this world. I was really appreciative of the fact that they were openly sharing their opinions with me, and as a journalist, it's something I'm accustomed to. But the guy who was running camera, my friend Charles, he was like, oh my God, he was livid, There's a lot of stuff they talked about that's not relevant to this episode, but that maybe I'll share with y'all in future episodes. But my cameraman was not having it. But I appreciate that they shared their opinion. I don't in any way share in that opinion with them. I don't agree with what they said. And that's why I went to the streets of New York to find out, what do people think about women, leadership, equality, and gender roles? Hey, do people wear aprons at home? Are there a lot of men out there who are sharing roles with their wives like I do? I don't know how people run their households. So let's do this. Let's go to the streets of New York and find out what is the status of women, equality, leadership in today's world. This is C Squared, Cocktails and Conversation on the Street.
I think he hasn't met enough strong women then in his life, if that's his opinion. You've got great leadership ready and waiting here, but there's just no opportunity, and there's just no, someone just needs to stand up and say, you know what, I back this person, I believe this person can take it forward. And there shouldn't be, there shouldn't be a basis of what parts you have or what role you play in a marriage or any kind of discrimination as to whether you can get the job done or not.
I think that we were talking earlier, I think that there's a lot of gender norms that we should be getting away from, and I think our younger generation is doing a great job at pushing women into places of power and treating them as equals, which they should be. So I think that America is ready for a woman president. I think it for some reason still comes down to gender, and it shouldn't. It should be about the person.
I don't know, I feel like as a woman right now, I definitely feel like there's a lot of opportunities to progress than there were for other women in the past, but there's definitely a lot of more space to go because there's a lot of barriers and glass ceilings that should be broken till we're all have as many opportunities as men do. Especially as a woman of color, it's very difficult for me to get the same positions that other men may have.
I feel like America is headed toward a more progressive, it's going to be a more progressive country, and I feel like women provide a different perspective that men just don't have, and the history that women, the oppression that women have faced, has really shown how, in numbers, women are powerful, and I feel like a woman in office would be just what we need as a country right now. That'd be perfect.
And in terms of relationships, whether it's marriage, dating, and stuff like that, do you think we should still be observing gender roles? Like some stuff is left for the guy and some stuff is lady stuff?
Yeah, I think a lot of that goes back to just old school mentality. I think that America in general is really run by the old white dudes in power, and that's the mentality that was in growing up in the 50s and 60s, and I don't think that's real life today. We are all people, we should all be treated equally, we should all get paid equally. I think there are still certain gender norms in relationships, the man should propose, and that's something I think that will probably mainstay for some reason, and I don't really know the answer to that, but I think that other gender norms in relationships should be pretty equalized out.
I think that you should reserve the right for that to be a personal decision that you make with your partner and you make with your family. And I don't think that women are any better or worse at whatever role it is, being a parent or being a caregiver or being a cleaner or a cook or any of those things. I don't think women are any better or any worse, and neither for men. So it really should just be between you and your partner.
Sure. What's your opinion?
Yeah, I'm going to kind of go off of hers. I think it's honestly one of those things that it's a personal decision, and I think everyone is capable of kind of doing whatever that they believe and what they please. And so I think honestly, it's just the opinion of like yours and your partner's opinion, and then like you make the best decision that you can.
I mean, history has shown that gender roles do have some benefit, but as we're seeing now, there's a lot of stay-at-home dads, and but the pay disparity is still present. But I feel like gender roles, to some extent, do provide clarity on specific tasks that a family should, like the man and a woman in a family should undertake. But there should always be an equal share of responsibility between the man and the woman, but not a responsibility where the man has greater say than the woman. Kind of like an equal playing field.
I think like to a certain extent it sort of relies on what you feel comfortable with. Like in a relationship, if I'm in an equitable relationship and a healthy one, I would be okay with tending to the home if that's what suits me in that moment, but I wouldn't want to be sort of held down or bound down by those rules. But I would be okay accepting that if times come, as long as my partner would do the same. Like if we have a child and I'm asked to stay with the child, I would be okay with it as long as my partner would do the same.
I'm a man who wants to make a difference, like in the workplace, make it a level playing field for women and stuff like that. What can people like me do? Any opinions?
Yeah, I think it's all about not speaking on behalf of someone, but using your platform and your voice and your abilities, whatever privilege you have, whether that's being a white woman, whether that's being a white man, whether that's being anyone that you are, because there's a lot of people underneath you, and speaking on their behalf doesn't do anything for them. It's lifting their voices by using yours.
I think that it's slowly improving. I think that it's taking us kind of a long time to, I guess, as a society be okay with it, which is kind of weird to me. But I think that just being as inclusive as possible and realizing that, once again, we are all people and we're all here to be successful and have a good standard of living. And it shouldn't matter race or gender or what you identify with. It doesn't matter, and it shouldn't. I know that it does for some people for some reasons, but I think that as a society, we just have to be more inclusive to everybody.
It's very important to be an ally and recognize that you will never be in the other person's shoes, and you have to do the best to like empathize with the other person. And if they're voicing some sort of inequity in a situation, do your best to advocate for them, because even though you don't know what it's like to experience it, you have to go by what they're saying, because you don't make it up. I don't know, you don't make up those situations, so I guess do your best to lend a hand and help out.
Hey, this is James Okungu for C-Squared Cocktails and Conversations, coming to you from the Hudson River waterfront. Today's episode saw us have a general consensus on women's place in leadership, in that they can do a great job, even perhaps better than men. With terms of gender roles and whether those should be maintained, I think there's a bit of variation there, with some people saying certain roles play an actually good and important function and should be kept, and some should be looked at on a relationship level and not something that society comes in and interferes with that. So this has been C-Squared Cocktails and Conversations. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more coming. We have these discussions all the time. They're interesting, they're engaging, they're fun. Some of them are a bit edgy, but they will keep you captivated. Consider subscribing. We really appreciate the support. If you like this video, consider sharing it on your social platforms and give us a like if you may. This is James Okungu signing out. Thank you.